And we're
Way back.
back. Way back. Hey, everybody. Italy with Bella here. And we are back live again for another Facebook Town Hall session. Even internally, I don't really know what we call these things. It went from Town Hall to update to we have various names for it. So whatever you want to call it, it's a live update. That's what it is. And we're on Facebook. If you're listening on the Bella Italy podcast, then this is a standalone podcast episode. And we are right here at the tail end of May, beginning of June, giving you an update on what's been going on in Italy. So big news first. I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Anthony Campopiano. How you doing, Anthony?
Good. I'm still getting over jet lag, but doing okay. It's a good break at 4:00 in the morning. So yeah, came in what time did I leave? Wednesday night. Got in Wednesday night.
Wednesday? Yeah.
So after a month in Italy, and as you know, you were with us probably for 3/4 of it, right? Traveling around Italy, meeting with partners, visiting hotels, eating at restaurants, going on tastings, doing on tours. So it was a whirlwind month, and it went by fast.
Yeah, it
So glad
did.
to be back.
Yeah, it did.
Mm,
Well, welcome home. Welcome back. And hopefully you get caught up on some rest this weekend, Memorial Day weekend there in the States, I think, right?
true. True. Time
I
that right.
check
Yeah.
in every now and then. I check in, see what's going on in the States. I go, oh yeah, that's a lot going on in the States. I'll just stay over here. Yeah,
Yeah, the funny thing about it is we look forward to those vacation days, and that July 4th, Memorial Day, and then you're waiting for the holidays. Or in Italy, they have a holiday for some kind of saint in some kind of town or some kind of. I would love to have the Italian holiday schedule compared to us, right? Always celebrating something, but yeah.
always celebrating something. Well, you need to, as they say over here, ci
True.
vuole. Yeah, you need to. You
I
need to
agree.
celebrate. Life is it can be a little tough sometimes, and you need a little Italian culture to help you get through. So,
I agree.
well, speaking of that, so yeah, you mentioned a few of the things. Let's just start there for today. You've been 30 days on the road, and maybe for folks looking from the outside in, they're thinking, oh wow, that's the dolce vita, that's the sweet life. Being how sweet was it?
It
Let's
was
start
very
there.
all right. Let's put the positives on it. So the first positive is the weather. The weather was ridiculous. I mean, I don't think we got a day of rain. I think one day in Naples when we were sleeping and maybe a drizzle. We didn't get any rain, and it was
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
temperature-wise, probably till the last week. But the biggest thing we'll notice, and we could talk to this, being there for a month, right? We noticed when we first got there, whether it was Amalfi, Naples, Rome, three times we were in Rome.
yeah.
It was quiet. It was really just it was like we
Comparatively
own
speaking, yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, even Rome, I mean, we really Trastevere, that area is usually getting overrun with tourists now because it used to be where all the locals went. And now we were there at the beginning of May, end of April, and it was just like no one around. I mean, you just
Yeah,
walk into a restaurant, there was no tourists. And then we just came back and it was just slamming. I mean,
nuts.
everyone from every country was in Trastevere, and it was like, wow, what a difference between May and June.
Right.
So that being said, I like to digress on that. But that's one thing I noticed being there for a month. But as Brian was tongue in cheek saying, it was a lot of work. It was a grind. We had our social media person, Marissa, with us too. And she was tired after, and she's a lot younger than us, right? And so it was every day a grind, right? Whether it was to get up early to meet a partner, whether to get up early to get on a train, but it wasn't us sitting around a piazza just living the good life,
Right.
right? So
No, we
so
had a pretty packed itinerary. I mean, we were
mhm.
hitting, town after town after town, partner to restaurant to tasting to tour, back to restaurant to B&B. I mean, it was in and out fast.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that because we went to Capri and we get off the ferry and it was just a day. We're familiar with it, so we just wanted to get a day, and it was beautiful. There was no one. It wasn't no one's a strong word, but it was very quiet
Yeah.
compared to what it will be. And we got in a taxi, and he brought us around. We went to all spots, to the partners we wanted to meet, the restaurants we wanted to eat at, and we came back. But it was a full day. Then we had to get on a boat back, and we took a private boat. We checked, but it was a full day. It wasn't like we stopped and sat and relaxed. It was taking pictures, it was doing videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I
Right.
mean, people cry us a river, right? When we say stuff like that, we still got to eat good food, and but it was a long, long month,
Yeah.
and good and bad, right? It was good to meet our partners. It was good to eat great food, but it was a lot of dragging luggage and getting on trains,
Mhm.
planes, and automobiles, right? So that was the difference.
Yeah, and there was, there were times of frustration, where, even as if we were to call ourselves, in between the little quotes here, seasoned veterans, or seasoned travelers, Italy is still, uh, uh, it's way south in Europe, and
Yeah.
you feel that. It's not the same experience if you go to, a more Germanic country. If you're in Germany, if you're in some of the northern countries, Austria, Switzerland, if you're up higher in Sweden, or a place like Finland, there's nobody there, and it's just everything's clockwork and everything's as you'd
Mhm.
expect it. You come here, it's a little more chaotic. Effectively south of the border, let's call it like that, and you run into things. But this is exactly why we do what we do,
Yeah.
and there are things that are just beyond our control too. Just a few nights ago, we were in Rome, couldn't get a
Mhm.
taxi anywhere. Had five different services that we usually call out to. Even the B&B had called a taxi service. Yeah, come to find out, there was a soccer game in town. Rome was playing, and so we talked to the cabbie on the way. We eventually found one, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's just nuts. I'm hoping Rome wins so that I can just go home because it's been a disaster of a day." And we've got clients that are traveling, and it's tough to get a driver, or the driver shows up late or doesn't show up at all. Some of that you just kind of have to take on the chin and go, yeah, this is
Mhm.
this is Italy. It's kind of the price you pay for being in a country like this. But the weather is spectacular, the food is fantastic, the scenery, the landscapes immaculate. It's everything you would want, except for there's a little bit of a grind to the culture sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's why you have to take it all in, right? It is a pain. Like you just said, we have customers in Amalfi. Amalfi's mayhem right now. You can't find drivers. There's not enough drivers. They're
Yeah.
showing up late. And you have to know like even now. We just got a call from a driver, and he's like, "Hey, the construction on Monday is going to be crazy. We have to leave 3 hours early for the airport
Oh
instead of
my
two."
gosh. Wow.
So
Yeah. And
and
that's like
and
a
you know
5 a.m.
yeah,
departure
exactly.
time.
So, this is what happened this is why we tell a lot of customers, if you have to go in June, July, okay, but we'd rather see you go in September, October, April, May, right?
Yep. Right. There's a
Just
there's a
easier to
reason.
traverse. Yeah.
Yep.
There's not
Exactly.
enough
Yeah.
cars. There's not enough there's not enough roads.
Yeah.
It gets really difficult. And these are the things, like you said, you have to take that. And that's something we have to prepare our customers for, right? We're going to basically say, hey, expect delays, expect cancellation, expect scratching your
Yep.
head on the side of the road.
Yep.
So this, it is what it is. But
Right. If you're coming over with a backpack, as a lot of folks do, from other European countries and from Canada, the U.S., you come over with a backpack and you stay in a hostel, you're probably going to be good. If you're not looking to get into a particular restaurant, you just want whatever, uh, whatever Giuseppe or Giovanni is standing outside on the side of the road with a cheese platter inviting you in. Yeah, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna
yeah,
pay through the nose, but you're gonna be all right. If you're going over and you want a particular kind of experience, if you want a little peace and quiet, if you want to have a great meal, you got to have the planning. And even right now, just to capitalize on that, as we're calling restaurants and setting up even for July. as far out as July, it is so tough to get a reservation, even to
Yeah.
get the restaurant on the phone. I know yesterday, the gal who does our calling for us over here in Italy, Juicy, as she's calling some restaurants, she said, I called 6 or 7 times to the same restaurant just to get through to
Mhm.
somebody. And this is somebody that knows us and has us on speed dial. When
Yeah.
they look at the phone, they know who it is calling. And yet it's still tough to get it. So, all that said and done, May was good. That was a great call to come over at the end of April through May. And then, yeah, kind of take a pause in these hot summer months. I mean, most Italians are closing the shop anyway. They go in feria, which is their seasonal vacation where they close up shop. They all go as a family to the sea or to their mountain home, and they get away. They get away from
Mhm.
the city. They get away from the heat if they can. And all of that's just part of the rhyme and reason over here. And just in a salting the wound kind of way, another reason that we love Italy so much. It's just, yeah, Italy is
Different.
Italy. It's unique like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the experience then? Let's move into restrictions, because I know that's still big on a lot of people's minds as they're
Mm.
thinking of coming over to Italy. They're thinking, okay, how are things with COVID? How are things with restrictions? Where do I have to have a mask? What was your experience coming over? Because you hadn't been since last fall. And
Yeah.
then, so we jumped 6 months, and then you came back through April, May. What was that like for you?
Well, what the funny thing about it is we came, what, 2 days before the new rule, right? The new decree came down, I think it was May
Yep.
1st, right? So when we
Yep.
came in, there was a negative swab still needed for people that weren't vaccinated or vaccination cards were over 9 months, right? So, that didn't apply to me. One person in our Italy Nubella party, didn't have a true green pass or true vaccination. They had to get a negative swab. We landed, and as far as I knew, we were able to go into any restaurant we wanted, whatever. We walked in the first place we go to in Rome. The lady's like, "Let me see if she's looking at a vaccination card with a magnifying glass." And she's like, "No, it's over 6 months." And I didn't want to get into this semantics with her. And we just went to another restaurant across the street. They had no mask on, didn't ask for any vaccination card. Literally across. I mean, I could have rolled the ball out the window, outdoor.
Yeah.
So we sat down, and that was it for the rest of the trip. Because 2 days later, there was no need for negative tests. I mean, no need for vaccination
to
cards, no need for
to show
masks.
that when
Show
you're
the
going
vaccination card. Yeah.
into a
Yeah,
restaurant.
you
Yeah.
still you still need to come into Italy with that negative test, but once you have that negative test and enter Italy, you're not showing it any longer, and you're
Right.
not,
Right.
And the other thing is mask. There's mask at the Vatican still. There's mask on the train and buses. And one time we had a taxi driver who told us to wear our mask, which was kind of odd, but we must have been in
Right.
100 taxis. And that's fine. We carry it. We put it on for him, and we didn't get into the semantics. But right now, it's pretty open. The
Yeah.
servers are still in some restaurants. Most of the restaurants we see are having mask on. Then you walk up, they'll have the mask down. They're talking to you anyway. It's just more
Chin
semantics
guard.
and
Right.
looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, chin guard. Yeah, chin strap. Right. But no, yeah.
Right.
So it's back to, I would say, almost back to normal, except when you're on a
Mm.
train or you're going to a Vatican or a hospital. Other than that, we didn't even
Yeah.
think, like, they would ask us that time. The taxi driver asked us, we were like, where is it? Like, because
Oh,
we didn't use
yeah. I forgot about that. Right.
we used it for 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that was it. But the train was it. And they were pretty strict on the train. They were like, go get a mask. And I saw one
Mm.
person had to go buy a mask at the bar. But
Okay.
other than that, no. I mean, after May 1st, Bry, you were with me. It was
Mhm.
pretty wide open. And it was only required what it was required, which was the museums, once again, trains and buses. So,
Yep.
that was
So
it.
yeah, we're rolling back. We're probably back to early to mid 2000 now, if we're rolling back to
Mm.
normal, if we can call it that. I'm sure it'll be a new normal at some point, but um, basically, to get in the country, if you're coming through another EU country, it might be a different experience, an easier experience. But if you're flying directly from the U.S. into Italy, probably going to have to show a vaccine card. And like Anthony was just saying, yeah, you've got to show a certain criteria on that. If you've got the booster, it's good indefinitely. But if
Yes.
not, you're going to have to do a swab to get in. Other than that, yeah, the experience at most restaurants, especially post May 1st, is they're not asking, they're not showing. You don't
Yeah.
need a mask to walk across 5 paces from the door to the table like it was, which was ridiculous. Um, but if you're on mass public transport still, or an airplane, yeah, you've got to have a mask on. And all the times that I flew here in May, 6 times, I think, 7 times, no, have to be 8 times. I flew and was on buses and trains. Not once did I have to show any kind of vaccination thing. So all of that's kind of been rolled back. Hopefully, as of June 1st, we'll be seeing even a further lessening of criteria to where it's only hospitals and schools where you're going to need to have a mask. You've got congregation, you've got people congressing from that are, let's say, in more vulnerable ages or demographics. So all of that's getting easier. It just makes it easier to travel over here and to enjoy. And speaking of traveling and enjoying, we've got several families that are here now. Give us, just because I know you've got your fingers on the pulse of what our various families are and clients are over here doing. What are they enjoying? What are they seeing? Just give us a little taste of, if you were one of these families over here in Italy with Bella, what would you be doing today and for this weekend?
But this weekend, I'd be going to the mountains. I think it's hot over there, right? I believe it's a heat wave. If I
Yep.
was these
We're
families,
having
I'd
a
be
little
going to
bit of
this.
heat.
I'd be going to the sea. I'd be going up high on vineyards like we were in Montalcino, where it was nice and breezy, getting in the shade up there. So I would look forward to, going into the, if you're in Florence, getting inside the market, getting some cooling off over there, or
Right.
just
We've
getting.
talked about that before. Inclement
Mhm.
weather, where to go, what to do, how to hide from the heat and
Yeah.
still enjoy being in Italy. That's a great idea. Being in Florence, the markets there are fantastic. Love
Yeah,
that.
I think we have customers in Como. We have customers right now in Florence. We have them in a few in Amalfi, Rome. We got what, 3 or 4 this weekend. We just but they're all over the place, and we kind of give, some of these customers, they're hiking right now. They're
Hmm.
hiking, and they got to find, you can't plan that when you're planning it in, to be 85, 90 degrees. So, but yeah, I mean, they're doing all kinds of things. Hopefully, as we teach them and coach them to, how to avoid the heat, how to deal with it. But I think, they're pretty situated right now and all over the country. And we haven't heard anything about them being overwhelmed by the heat, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, and in fact, we had some folks that have just come back. I'm thinking of a couple families. One family actually came down as far as Sicily. I got to actually see some of the clients, which is a rarity for me. I don't
Mm.
always get a lot of face to face time. Some folks have come back to the Nashville area, and they were over here. A couple of families were over here in February, again in March. A little bit cooler weather. You needed some, a jacket at times.
Mhm.
But what was their, if you can just kind of help us understand, what was their experience like? What were some of the things that they said that they did or enjoyed about Italy and being over in this time frame?
Yeah, I think what happens when people look at February, March, April, they're either seasoned travelers, they've been to Italy before, they want to go when the tourists aren't there. So that was the good thing. So when you plan a trip with these people, what they're looking for, the real experience. So these people went, several couples went, and families. They wanted a real experience, so they were going to Naples on food tours, right? Because a lot of times, people go to Naples, get the pizza, and they go to Amalfi, or they go up from Amalfi and they stop at the train station. So, one of the couples you're talking about went to Sicily, and they wanted to have, they wanted to get in the markets of Catania. They wanted to check out the Mount Etna. So it was nice, because, like you said, not everyone's looking to get to Sicily, right? And we try to tell them the benefits and the beauty and
Mm.
the reasons to go. And so that's what I would say was different about the spring season. Is you'll notice in the spring, people know that, all right, I want to get away from the tourist, I want to eat well, I want to get some get time to understand Italy more because it's not overwhelmed, right? But a lot of
Mm.
it was, a little more diverse than we get. I would say a high percent of our customers want those big three: Florence, Venice, and Rome. But we noticed in those months they were more diverse in where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
Does that answer your
Yeah.
question? I'm not sure if that was what you
Yeah,
were going
and it's fun. It's fun to hear some of that. I know a couple of those couples. They had an anniversary,
for.
which was a motivating factor for them coming in a little bit outside of the main, touristy months of June, July, into August.
Yeah.
But honestly, from the Italian perspective over here, coming in July or August is just brutal because of the heat, because of trying to find a restaurant that's open. And here in Sicily, a lot of the Italians, they go out, they have dinner at around, they don't leave the house until 10 or 11 at night. They get to the restaurant 11, 12. They're there until 2, 2 in the morning, kids running around playing
Mhm.
because it's
The
cooler
heat.
and there's not
Yeah.
there's not AC at home. And so they're just sitting outside and eating a meal because you don't really feel hungry until it's that late at night. But for a lot of Americans coming over, that's really culture shock, being
Yeah.
out that late at night, seeing kids at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, running around playing and enjoying a family meal kind of thing. And so, that's part of the seasonality of how we try to prepare people and coach people, even on our podcast, when they're coming over, what to do, what to expect, when to come, when not to come, if they can avoid it. All of that factors into, hopefully the outcome for folks is that they have an incredible experience that they is minimal on the frustration side. I don't know if anybody, I don't know if you and I even get in and out without any kind of frustration. We get out,
I mean,
minimal,
I'm even thinking about
but it's
Ravenna.
still
We were in Ravenna, and you're at a hotel, and the hotel's like, "I can't get you a taxi. It's over there. Go walk." It was like,
right. 10-minute walk.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a 10 minute. Well, we didn't want to walk. We were dragging these luggage. We would, and it's like, no, yeah, by the time you get it, we won't be. And then we're like running for
yep.
the train. So we're not immune to the pains, right?
Right.
So we go back to that.
Yeah,
No,
there's
I
certain
think I think
limitations anyway.
I think
Yeah,
you hit on a point in regards to June and July, right? When you're dealing with Americans, they have set ideas on their vacations. It's going to be when the kids are out of school, when they graduate. They can't go in September, October. They can't get sitters. They both whatever, right? So what happens is you
sure.
got this window of June and July, and that's why we're overwhelmed. But they love. I mean, Italy's beautiful no matter what the temperature is, right? It's got to
Right.
know how to, like you said, what are we doing to help them get through the
Maybe
heat?
you escape
You
to
know?
the mountains. Maybe you actually go to the
Exactly.
sea. And a lot of, I think a lot of our clients don't even think about that when they come over to
Mhm.
go hit an Italian beach. And
Yep.
and the beaches over here are phenomenal. Uh, and yet there is a frustration level of parking. What are you going to do for food? How are you going to do the
Yeah.
picnic? I mean, it's a lot to factor in, and you need to really have an inside lane and kind of be coached or well informed on how this works over here, where not to put your car, or
Oh,
how
yeah.
far you're gonna have to walk. I
Just
mean, all of
so
that
you've
it can be
seen it with me.
frustrating.
You've seen it with me. I'm like, "All right, Brad, where's the parking meter?" And you're like, "All right." And then you gotta move the car because some guy with a motorcycle wants to park there and you're backing it up. Or it's just always something. And I can't imagine our customers who are there for the first time, right? If they
Right.
get a car
That's
or,
that's
the
some
train.
frustration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's something we learn as we go. And you still learn, I think, right? You
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
learn, but
Oh yeah.
you're no
Well, I
different.
mean,
You're not immune to
no,
missing
no,
a
no.
train. We're not immune to it,
And
right?
I
So,
mean, and even my Italian friends, as we go to places and we'll look at each other like, what just happened? And there's a frustration level among other Italians over here sometimes. And so, a lot of that's just you got to take it all in together. You got to accept Italy for what it is. And there are some tips and tricks to getting in and out unscathed, or at least with a lower level of
exactly. Yeah.
frustration. That's what that's really what we want to help people to do. And we help people to do that in another way is on the Bella Italy podcast. So we're finishing up. I say we're finishing. We're still finishing up our first season. We have the long awaited.
Our
I
followers are
was
gonna be very
traveling.
excited.
I'll take the hit for that. We were traveling. We haven't done our season 1 wrap up, but I'm still looking forward to wrapping up season 1 We started in Rome. We headed north, and a lot of the towns that you just mentioned, up through Umbria. We hit into Bologna, Emilia Romano. We hit into we went up to Venice, across to Verona, and now we're gonna kind of round out. You know, the little spoiler alert here. We're gonna round out the northern experience here in Italy, which is going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that because I really love the north of Italy. That whole corridor from Venice in the east, moving towards your left, all the way to the west over to Torino. I love, love, love this area. I love the different cultures and the cuisine and the climate. I love the foods that you get and the influence that you have from all these other the Slavic countries, the
Mhm.
Austrian, German country, the French border over on the west side. You get all of that, and it's so fun to kind of sample and experience that. So we're going to get to wrap that up in season one. We'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back with season two. We've got some fun things lined up for season two. But if you haven't listened already, go and find us. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google Podcasts. You can find us on a link off of our website, italywithbella.com. Find us on Twitter, just Bella Italy, and listen to the podcast. It's just free, fun information, and I know you'll find it inspiring for your next trip to Italy. So, with that said, just to try to kind of round out and wrap up, if you're thinking about coming over to Italy and you just want a consultation on what that would look like, what time of year, the budget that you need, what you could go and do and see, you want to ideate, get on the phone with these guys. Get on the phone with Anthony and his wife, Denise. Go to italywithbella.com, click a button, and you're going to sign up for a free consultation, no strings attached. This isn't the kind of thing where you've got this timeshare rental, free dinner where you go
You get a
and then,
free piece
they're
of
going to,
luggage. No, I'm kidding.
they're going to give you, a set of pots and pans for $300 at the end of the night. It's not that. It's just a free talk, and I know you're gonna fall in love with Italy when you talk with Anthony and Denise. Anthony, what would you add to people that are thinking about coming over to Italy? Uh, in the fall of this year, because we're already planning a good 2 to 3 months out. You really need that buffer for the planning and the setup and the reservations and all of that. A good price on the tickets, etc. What would your encouragement be? What are they
Let me
looking
take one
for?
step back for on the consultation. We had a couple of calls this week just on customers calling us up and asking Denise. Well, I was in Italy, asking Denise some just general questions. Could be about COVID. It could be about travel. And we'll actually help those people. It's not like you just said. We're not. There's no tag. There's no bait and switch. We're here to help you walk through anything that you're walking through. It's 30 minutes. We're hoping that we use as a reference for us in the future or someone else. So I want to make sure we understand that. So that being said, I mean, right now, we do have a busy September and October, which I feel is the best time to go to Italy. In regards to the seasons, whether it's truffles, wine, olive oil, whatever. But it's also when the season starts dying down with tourism. Yeah, we get customers, that are a month, 6 weeks. Not the
Mm,
easiest thing to do, especially for the summer, because you're not going to get our maybe our best tour, but you'll get our not saying the second best tour, but it's just tougher to find things that we are partnering with, whether it's a restaurant, a tour, or
yeah,
a hotel, right? So we always recommend right now, if you want to go in September, October, you should be on the phone with us. You should be calling us or another Italy specialist that
right.
can help you get there in September, October. So I would start doing that now. What do we? Geez, June, July, August. Yeah, you're 3 months out. You're really stretching
90
it.
days.
So,
Yep.
and like I said, September is a great time to go. Last couple of weeks of September have been spectacular for us, and I think, like I said, it's just the perfect temperature, lower tourism season. But yeah, I mean, even for next year, we have. I would stop planning. You really should be planning. Next May and June. Now is the time to look at it. Maybe not book the flights. We can hold the
Mm,
reservations for tours. We can hold the reservations for hotels. Getting that done so you get the best picks that we have. Right? We have tons of great tours, and sometimes no, it's booked, and then we have to shuffle the whole itinerary, or we can't get you the tour we wanted to put you in, and have to give you
Right.
something else. So, yeah, I would say right now is the time to get on the phone, get on email with us or a Zoom call, and start discussing it.
Okay, great. So as you're thinking about your next trip over here to Italy with Bella, you can go hit our Bella Italy podcast. In the meantime, as well, shoot us a question, a comment. Let us know what your thoughts would be on a future podcast episode. What do you want to hear more about? Maybe you're not ready for that consultation, but you want a quick idea on something. Hit us on Twitter. Hit us on the website. There's a multitude of ways to connect on our Instagram, which if you've been following our Instagram, you've been enjoying, I know, our reels and stories and posts. We've really kicked things up a notch in that regard. It's been really fun to see some of the reaction that we've got from people, but use that as a medium to get in touch with us and to ask us some questions. Any final thoughts or comments? I know you're tired. You've been on the road 30 days. You're ready for a long Memorial Day weekend.
High River.
But
Yeah, no,
anything else you want to say?
no, I'm excited for our customers that are there and coming in the next 2 months. Right, I'm excited. We always love hearing the stories. We love hearing, what they enjoyed, and it's how we build the company, right? Is to hear feedback. So we're excited to hear from you, and hopefully in the future trips. Also, we're excited to work with the customers that are on the ground, and what they're dealing with and how they're loving our Bella Italia. So
All right.
I'm good.
All right. Well, stay tuned to our next post on this Facebook page and to the next episode on the Bella Italy podcast. Hopefully, we'll have some great information for you in the meantime. Stay safe and enjoy Italy if you're over here, if you're one of our clients that's already over here and in circulation. And if we can help you dream about being in Italy with Bella, you know how to reach us. All right. We will talk to you later. Anthony, see you later. Have a great weekend.
Arrivederci. Later, buddy.
Arrivederci. Ciao.